Every once in a while, things just come together perfectly. So when I had the opportunity to join my wife and son for a motorcycle trip through Alaska and up to Tuktoyaktuk in the Arctic Ocean, I didn't hesitate. Stick around, share the adventure with us. Today was a big day. It was time to tackle the notorious Dempster Highway. We've heard a lot of bad stuff about this road. Recent deaths, broken bikes and bodies. We were hoping to avoid rain on the Dempster, but sure enough, not long after we hit the road, it started pouring. They apply calcium chloride to keep the dust down on the road, but when it gets wet, it's a skating rink. Leslie was a top figure skater in her day, but that won't help her here. We took it easy, but there was still some pucker moments for sure. We stopped in at the Tombstone Territorial Park Interpretive Center to warm up and relax some tensed muscles with some tea they had warming on the wood stove. We then headed a bit further up the road to the Tombstone Campground to camp for the night. I'm glad now that I sprayed the bikes head to toe in ACF 50, which is a thin oil that will help reduce the corrosion from the calcium chloride.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The campground had a nice pavilion with covered windows and a potbelly stove to keep us nice and warm while we socialized with other campers. The next day we made our way to Eagle Plains with better weather. It was pretty chilly, but the views were fantastic, and the road was just damp enough to keep the dust down, but not too slippery. There were lots of potholes and jagged shale rock though, so we were very careful. We stopped at Engineer Creek Campground for lunch, and were happy that they had a pavilion like Tombstone, and we're even more thrilled that the wood stone was still burning to warm up our cold hands. We thought we were pretty badass for tackling the Dempster, but when we passed some bicyclists on their way back, I was humbled. I have so much respect for these people. Our feet and fingers were pretty cold when we arrived at Eagle Plains, which is at over 2,300 feet in elevation. Since we were still dirty from the day before, we got one of the last available hotel rooms and had a nice hot shower. The next morning, shortly after leaving Eagle Plains, we crossed into the Arctic Circle. It was a pretty good feeling to have accomplished this, as we met so many that didn't make it this far. The next test for us would be Hurricane Alley, which is located between kilometer 450 and 465. It certainly lived up to its name. The winds were so strong when we got to the Northwest Territories border, we didn't stop for a group photo because if we stopped, we felt that we would be blown over. We carried on through some amazing scenery towards our first ferry over the Peel River just before Fort McPherson. We managed to make it across on this ferry without incident and stopped in Fort McPherson for some gas and snacks. Gas and groceries are crazy expensive up here. We then crossed the Mackenzie River under beautiful blue skies.
There we go.
We finished off the gravel, and just before Inuvik, we finally hit asphalt once again. We stopped in at Jack Campground, where we would stay for a couple of nights for a bit of a break and waiting out weather before the last 150 kilometers to Tuktoyaktuk.
Hello. Good, how are you? You have some open site?
Today was a rest day, so we headed into the town of Inuvik to explore. Inuvik has a population of 3,100 people and is a fairly big town by northern standards. We stopped in at the Western Arctic Regional Visitors Center and checked out the many exhibits. We were proud to receive our certificate of the Arctic Circle Chapter Order of Adventurers.
Hello.
Since the permafrost makes burying pipes impractical, Inuvik uses an above-ground utilidor system for its water and sewer lines. After a nice lunch, we headed back to camp to prepare for our ride to Tuk the next day. Today we would ride the 300 kilometers round trip to Tuktoyaktuk. We left some of our luggage at the campground in town and hit the road. At first, it was your average dirt road, but quickly the gravel became much looser and deeper, especially in the corners where trucks would push it into a pile. We found ourselves standing most of the ride and quickly learned that going slow would not work with this deep gravel. When things get sketchy, go faster. A bit counterintuitive, but it worked. After we passed the landfill near the edge of town, we finally had the Tuktoyaktuk sign in our sights. After a photo at the sticker-covered sign, we continued on through town, imagining what life would be like here in the winter. We eventually made it to the Arctic Ocean sign. What a feeling of accomplishment for our family of riders. After all of the warnings of how dangerous it was and that we shouldn't attempt it, we finally made it to the end of the road. We made our way to Grandma's kitchen for some lunch. Unfortunately, Grandma was ill and would not be cooking today. However, her husband John very generously invited us into their beach house so that we could cook and eat the freeze-dried meals that we had brought with us, and he made us a pot of hot coffee. What a beautiful view they have. Now that our bellies were full, we headed back to the end of the road to dip our toes into the Arctic Ocean. The stones were hard on our bare feet and the water was painfully cold, but we were thrilled to have made it here to this moment. We filled up our fuel tanks for the 150-kilometer ride back to Inuvik, where we had earned a restful night in a hotel. We were careful not to crash in the very loose, freshly graded gravel. Everyone made it through without incident. The only casualty was Michael's license plate frame and plate, which somehow tore off and lost due to some of the rough sections. After a quick selfie at the Inuvik sign, we headed back towards Eagle Plains for the night. We crossed both rivers with a lunch break at Fort McPherson before crossing our fingers and heading into Hurricane Alley at the Yukon border. My hopes for a calmer wind were dashed when I found myself hanging off the side of the bike to counterbalance the strong wind. We stopped at a roadworks building to have a break and find some protection from the wind, but it still blew us around. We questioned if we should wait it out, but in the end decided to go for it and slowly made our way back into the Yukon and on to Eagle Plains. After a big breakfast in Eagle Plains, we watched as the local ravens raided someone's truck with an open door, stealing their junk food. We also noticed they'd been busy on the bikes as well, shredding Michael's blue tent bag. We filled our fuel tanks and headed towards Dawson City for the night. The weather was warm and sunny, which however made for dustier conditions than on our way in. The semi-trucks and some RVs created so much dust you could barely see where you were going. We stopped at Ogilvie Ridge to rest and admire the beautiful scenery and to chat with some RV travelers we had met at Eagle Plains. As we crossed the Klondike River Bridge, a wave of emotion came over me. We made it. For us, this was a great accomplishment that few people would have the chance to experience. Nobody crashed or got hurt. The bikes were still in one piece. After refilling our tanks, we headed back to Dawson City. We again stayed at the Bunkhouse Hotel, and after a well-deserved shower and change of clothes, we headed out to dinner to celebrate at the Sourdough Saloon and also to partake in the world-famous Sourdough cocktail ceremony. The Sourdough cocktail is a shot of Yukon Jack whiskey and a dehydrated, mummified human toe. The toe has to touch your lips.
Gotta touch. There it is. There we go. certificate.
That is.
Standing proud with our certificates, we made our way to Diamond Tooth Gertie's gambling hall. We enjoyed a bit of gambling, some drinks, and of course, the famous showgirls. We planned on staying 2 nights in Dawson City, but we also wanted to do the White Pass train excursion in Skagway, and the only day we could still get tickets meant we had to leave right away to get there in time. So we loaded up and hit the road under clear blue skies for a fantastic ride. Our destination for the night would again be the Yukon motorcycle camp in Whitehorse. This would turn out to be a really nice day of riding. We took a break at a free campground and continued enjoying the amazing weather and scenery. Today we were headed towards Skagway, Alaska. We had another amazing day of clear blue skies and warm temperatures ahead of us.
No, I don't need a mansion in Montana. I don't want a penthouse in Perry. No gables in eaves, 4,000 square feet just to fill up things I don't need.
Just before the Alaska border, on Route 2, we came across the scene of a rock slide that blocked both lanes of the highway, was estimated to be up to 150 meters wide and 20 meters high. They had it mostly cleared now, and we were hoping that there would be no slides when we were going by.
On we go, down the endless road. How can we know?
The scenery heading towards Skagway was absolutely stunning.
I know this life gets so heavy, so I'll carry it with you.
We again crossed the US border into Alaska and made our way towards Skagway.
Wherever we roam. No, I don't need a castle in Columbus.
We arrived around noon in Skagway, and after checking into our hotel room and freshening up a bit, we had some lunch at the Skagway Brewing Company.
Always be new. Each morning when I wake up with you. Someday we'll have our own acre or two. We'll have a garden and a shed for your tools. But for now there's no rush, 'cause we still got so much left to see.
Exploring the town a bit, we picked up our tickets for the White Pass Scenic Railway tour and boarded the train. This was a pretty cool experience. Michael and I spent much of the ride standing at the outside head of the train car. The tunnels were so close to the train that we thought we would hit the rocks. The trains were in regular use on this route from 1900 till 1982. They were initially built to serve the Klondike Gold Rush. It became a vital transportation route to the Yukon interior. The railway was later revived as a tourist attraction in 1988. Definitely a thumbs up from us on this attraction. Today, after a nice breakfast, we would leave Skagway, crossing back into Canada and heading towards Teslin Lake in the Yukon. Stopped in Carcross to check out a touristy area of town and have some lunch at the bistro. Michael picked up some specialty maple syrup from Maple Rush, Yukon. It was delicious. Checked out the world's smallest desert and continued on towards Teslin Lake. After finding a nice campsite at the Teslin Lake Government Campground, we set up camp, had some dinner, and enjoyed the beach and calm waters at Teslin Lake.